I should not have let him hold me. His hands were warm against my skin, steady in a way that made me tremble. The ocean breeze carried the scent of salt, and I remember the way my bikini straps dug into my shoulders as Marcus's arms wrapped around me. I leaned into him for just a second, only a second, but that moment branded itself into my body like fire. I closed my eyes, pretending it was only comfort, pretending it was innocent. But deep down, I knew what we were doing was dangerous. Ernest had warned me not to go on this trip. He had forbidden me to even pack the bikini. Yet here I was, breaking every promise, stepping into a betrayal that felt both sinful and impossible to resist. And that was only the beginning. Before I go deeper into my story, I want to pause and appreciate you, my listeners. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. To all my new and returning viewers who are yet to subscribe, I cannot wait for you to hit that button because your support is the fuel and the energy that keeps me going. Please do not forget to engage with this story and share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let me take you back into where it all began. My name is Kristen. I am 49 years old. I have been married to Ernest, my husband, for 25 years. He is 54, a man of principles, and a man of control. To the outside world, our marriage looks steady and strong. But behind the closed doors of our home in Montana, I felt like a bird trapped in a gilded cage. Ernest loved order, rules, and predictability. I craved freedom, laughter, and the kind of warmth that did not suffocate me. When I told Ernest that my best friend Marcus had invited me to spend a week at the hot springs near Bozeman, his face hardened immediately. "You are not going," he said, his tone final, like a gavel slamming in court. "Why?" I asked. "It is just a getaway. I need some time to breathe." His eyes narrowed. "Because I said so, and you're not wearing that bikini either. You know exactly what I mean." I should have obeyed, but something inside me snapped. Maybe it was the years of being told no. Maybe it was the longing to remember who I was before Ernest swallowed me whole. So I packed the bikini anyway, and I went. Marcus and I had been friends since college. He had seen me through heartbreaks, through career changes, through motherhood. He was safe. At least, that is what I told myself. But as soon as I stepped out of the cabin in that bikini, the way his eyes froze on me said otherwise. We laughed, we swam, we teased like old times. But laughter turned into silence when his hand brushed mine under the water. Silence turned into electricity when he pulled me close after I stumbled on the rocks. And then, standing there, against the backdrop of the sun melting into the horizon, Marcus held me. My heart raced as guilt collided with longing. I knew this was the moment everything could change. And still, I did not step away. Marcus's arms tightened around me, and for the first time in years, I felt alive. But in the same breath, I felt the shadow of Ernest's rage waiting for me back home. The moment Marcus's arm slipped away from me, reality returned like a sharp wind. I stepped back, trying to hide the heat in my face. My pulse still throbbed, betraying me. I told myself it was nothing. A hug, just a hug. But the way my skin still tingled said otherwise. That night in the cabin, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The sound of water rushing in the hot springs outside seemed louder than my own breath. I pictured Ernest's face, stern, cold, the man who had forbidden me to even be here. He would never see this as innocent. He would call it betrayal. And he would not be wrong. I reminded myself of the life Ernest and I had built together. 25 years. A home in Montana that he loved to keep spotless. A routine he never allowed to bend. He believed in order. He believed in control. He believed that a wife's freedom ended at the line of his authority. But Marcus believed in me. He always had. That was the difference. The next morning, he brewed coffee and handed me a steaming cup with that easy smile that made my heart twist. He acted as if nothing had happened. Maybe he wanted to protect me from my guilt, or maybe he wanted me to be the one to cross the next line. We went hiking that day, and the mountains spread wide around us, raw and endless. I felt alive in a way I had not felt in years. I talked, I laughed, I let myself be Kristen, not Ernest's wife, and Marcus never stopped listening. But it was in the silence, when we paused to watch the horizon, that the tension thickened. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my face. His touch lingered. My breath caught. The part of me that should have pulled back simply did not. I leaned in, and for one stolen heartbeat, I felt the warmth of his forehead against mine. I snapped away, clutching my chest. "This is wrong," I whispered. "Then why does it feel so right?" he asked softly. That night, in the cabin, I sat alone with my phone in hand. I scrolled through my photos. There was one of me by the hot spring, bikini straps tied behind my neck, the water glistening on my skin. My stomach clenched as I stared at it, and then terror struck, because I realized the photo had automatically backed up to the shared family album that Ernest checked often. I dropped the phone as if it burned me. Panic shot through my veins. Ernest would see it. He would see the bikini he forbade. He would see the glow in my eyes that he had not put there. My hands shook as I tried to delete it, but I knew it might be too late. The phone buzzed in my hand. A message from Ernest appeared on the screen. "We need to talk. Now." The message from Ernest sat on my phone like a live grenade. "We need to talk. Now." My chest tightened. He had seen the photo. I did not know how much he suspected, but I knew that image was enough to tear open a wound that could never be closed. I spent the rest of the night pacing the cabin. Marcus tried to calm me, but even his presence became too much. What had felt like freedom hours ago now felt like chains pulling me deeper into betrayal. When I returned home to Montana, Ernest was waiting at the kitchen table. His jaw was locked tight, his hands folded as if he were holding himself back from striking the wood. The photo was open on his tablet screen. "You disobeyed me," he said quietly. Too quietly. I swallowed hard. It was just a picture, just a trip. "Do not insult me, Kristen," he cut in. His eyes burned into me. "I told you not to go. I told you not to wear that. And I can see it in your face. That look, that glow. That is not for me anymore, is it?" I wanted to deny it, but the words stuck in my throat. The truth was already in the air, thick and undeniable. I lowered my gaze. I felt alive again, Ernest, and I have not felt that in years. The silence after those words was unbearable. His chair scraped against the floor as he stood. He did not yell. He did not strike me. He only looked at me as if I had killed something sacred between us. "He gave what was mine to another man," he said finally. "Do you understand what that means?" Tears burned down my face. I did not sleep with him, but I let him hold me, and that was enough. Ernest turned away, his shoulders heavy, his figure suddenly looking older than his 54 years. He said, "Then you have already made your choice." And he walked out of the kitchen without looking back. In that moment, I realized I had lost him, not because of Marcus, not because of a hug, not because of a bikini, but because I had stepped beyond the invisible line of trust that once bound us together. I sat there for hours, crying into my hands. My marriage of 25 years was broken, not shattered by one act, but by years of suffocation that pushed me into the arms of someone else. The lesson I learned is cruel but clear. Passion without honesty destroys everything. Betrayal does not begin in a bed. It begins in a heart that dares to crave more than it is given. And that is my story. I want to hear from you. Do you believe I was wrong from the start? Or do you think Ernest's control pushed me to this point? Please drop your thoughts in the comments. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support is what keeps these stories alive, and I can't wait to bring you the next one.